I've heard countless times that human beings only use 10% of their brains, and I bet you guys have probably heard that one too. It's repeated everywhere. Movies, books, all over social media, and sometimes it feels like everyone is convinced it's true. But guess what? Modern neuroscience says we actually use pretty much our entire brain every single day. That 10% myth has been passed around so often that it almost feels like a universal truth, but the reality is far more fascinating. Our brains are constantly lit up with activity, even when we're resting. And here's the intriguing part. This myth shows up again and again, which kind of makes you wonder, what else are we getting wrong about our own bodies? If our brains are already so active, what other secrets might be hiding just beneath our skin? Stay right here, because we're about to dive into 7 weird facts about your body that will absolutely blow your mind. By the way, before we hop into the rest of these incredible tidbits, if you're new to this channel or you haven't done so yet, definitely consider subscribing. It's going to be really interesting going forward. We explore all sorts of cool, unexpected topics here, and I promise you won't want to miss a thing. Also, feel free to drop a like or comment if you enjoy this kind of content. It helps out a ton, and I really appreciate it. Now, speaking of surprising discoveries, let's talk about something that's both wonderfully weird and scientifically fascinating. The fact that you can't actually tickle yourself. I used to wonder about this all the time when I was a kid because I absolutely love a good laugh. Who doesn't? And I'd try to tickle my own feet or my ribs just to see if I'd burst out giggling. Turns out, no matter how hard I tried, it rarely ever worked. The reason behind this is that our brains are clever enough to predict our own movements. Your cerebellum sends a signal that you're about to move your hands to tickle your side, and the sensation is essentially canceled out because it's expected. That's a weird quirk, but it reveals something remarkable about how finely tuned our nervous system is. The next time you try to tickle yourself, and trust me, you'll want to test this, you'll see exactly what I mean. Moving on from that, there's something else about your body that might surprise you. Your tongue has a unique print, just like your fingerprints. Seriously, I remember hearing a rumor that everyone's tongue is basically the same, and I thought, how could that be? But eventually, I found out that tongue prints are so distinctive, some people even proposed they could be used for identification, much like fingerprints or retinal scans. Of course, that never really took off in a big mainstream way. Can you imagine the hygiene protocols we'd need if we all started pressing our tongues onto scanners? Still, it's fascinating that an organ we use all day, every day, for talking, tasting, and even swallowing, can be as unique as a snowflake. The next time you take a good look in the mirror, remember, that tongue is one of a kind. Now, let's consider something that I find really mind-blowing. Your nose can remember up to 1 trillion different scents. When I first heard about that, I thought, no way, trillion is an enormous number. But the science behind our olfactory system is nothing short of astonishing. Think about it. Odors are made up of various molecules, and our smell receptors in the nose can detect these tiny chemical differences. Over time, your brain learns to associate certain scents with particular objects or experiences. Have you ever caught a whiff of a familiar smell, maybe a certain type of flower or a specific perfume, and instantly been transported back to a memory from childhood? That's your nose's incredible capacity at work, encoding all those smell-based cues. It's almost as if your nose is a memory vault. The cool part is, we're always discovering new nuances about how smell works. So if you haven't already, try to pay attention to the next unusual scent you come across. You might be more adept at sniffing out details than you ever realized. But let me shift gears for a second, because we need to talk about something near and dear to my heart: garlic. Yes, that's right. Garlic isn't just for adding extra flavor to your favorite dishes. It has a surprisingly strong impact on the human body, and it does more than just ward off vampires. Personally, I really like it when a home-cooked meal includes a generous helping of freshly crushed garlic. When I was a kid, my grandmother would always tell me that garlic was the secret ingredient to a healthy life. She might have been onto something. Garlic contains compounds like allicin, which is known for its antibacterial and potentially antifungal properties. Some studies even suggest it could help support the immune system and possibly lower blood pressure when consumed regularly. Isn't that wild? Here's something else about garlic that might blow your mind. If you rub fresh garlic on the bottom of your foot, you might actually taste or smell it in your mouth later. Yes, it sounds absolutely bizarre, but there's a scientific explanation. Garlic's pungent compounds are so small that they can penetrate through the skin, enter the bloodstream, and eventually make their way to your lungs and mouth, producing that trademark garlic aroma. Now, don't go using garlic as cologne or anything, unless you're trying to keep some very determined vampires away. But it's definitely worth an experiment just for fun. I tried it once, and it was one of the strangest things. After about an hour, I got this faint garlicky taste at the back of my throat. It's weird, but it highlights how intimately connected our entire system is. Now, if you're enjoying these insights and you want to keep exploring fascinating facts about the human body, go ahead and share this video with a friend or two. Trust me, there's plenty more weirdness out there we haven't even touched yet, and it's always more fun exploring it together. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. We've got even more curious content on the way. Coming back to our incredible bodies, have you ever heard of something called your second brain? It's a term some scientists use to describe the enteric nervous system in our gut. I know that might sound bananas, but our digestive tract is lined with millions of neurons. Some even say more than in the spinal cord. When people talk about getting gut feelings, there might be a surprising amount of truth to that. Our gut can send signals to our brain, affecting mood, decision-making, and even overall well-being. I absolutely love thinking about that, because it reminds me to pay attention to those weird internal cues. Sometimes it's like our stomachs know something before our brains have fully processed it. So the next time you feel those butterflies or that uncomfortable pit in your stomach, don't just chalk it up to random nerves. It could be your second brain trying to tell you something. Let's also chat about your bones. We often imagine bones as these hard, static structures holding us upright like a building's framework. But did you know your skeleton is constantly rebuilding itself? Bone cells called osteoclasts break down. Old bone and osteoblasts build new bone. Your entire skeleton can actually renew itself roughly every decade. It's kind of like a slow, invisible renovation project going on in your body at all times. When I first learned about that, it made me appreciate how dynamic our bodies truly are. We often think of growth as something that happens during childhood, but in a way, our bodies never stop growing and changing. That's also why it's so important to take in enough calcium and vitamin D and maintain an active lifestyle. Those building blocks help keep your internal renovation project running smoothly. Another curiosity, you might have noticed that babies have a distinct smell, that new baby aroma that so many people absolutely adore. But have you ever wondered why? It turns out that newborn scent is partly due to a waxy, cheese-like coating called vernix caseosa, which babies develop in the womb to protect their skin from amniotic fluid. Even after the vernix is cleaned off, there's a lingering chemical signature that can stick around for weeks. Studies have suggested that this special baby smell helps mothers and caregivers bond with their infants on a biological level, which is pretty cool if you ask me. I remember holding my nephew for the first time and thinking, he smells so sweet and comforting, but I couldn't really explain why. Now we know there's some actual science behind it, which just makes it more endearing. Before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap of why our bodies are so downright weird in the best possible way, from how our brains are always switched on. So, yes, definitely more than 10%, folks. To the unique patterns on our tongues, to the gut that acts like a second brain, to the surprising power of garlic penetrating from foot to mouth, our bodies are jam-packed with oddities and marvels. Every organ, tissue, and cell is part of a giant orchestrated system that's been honed by millions of years of evolution. And what's truly amazing is that we're still learning new things about ourselves all the time. So if you ever feel like you pretty much know how everything works, think again. Your body might have a few more surprises in store for you. Bye. The way, if these facts blew your mind and you'd like to keep exploring more unusual science, health tips, and curious tidbits, definitely check out our other videos. We've got some wild stuff coming up, so make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you know when the next video drops. You can also drop your own weird fact or question in the comments. Who knows, we might feature it in an upcoming episode. In short, human bodies are endlessly fascinating. From your head to your toes, literally, in the case of the garlic experiment, there's always something new to discover. We debunked that 10% brain myth, found out we can't tickle ourselves because our brains are too smart, learned how distinctive our tongues really are, and realized we carry 1 trillion possible scents right under our noses. We also looked at how garlic can travel through our bloodstream, enough to smell it in our mouth, discovered the power of our second brain in the gut, found out our bones are in a constant state of renewal, and learned why newborns have that magical baby smell. It's been quite a journey, and I hope it makes you see your body in a new light. After all, we're walking, talking scientific wonders, each and every one of us. As we wrap things up, here's my parting question. Which of these weird facts did you find the most mind-blowing? And do you have any personal experiences that confirm them? For instance, have you ever tried the garlic on the foot trick or paid attention to your unique tongue print? Let me know in the comments. I'm super curious to hear your stories. Remember, the human body is full of surprises and we've barely scratched the surface. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.